But I'm gonna share something that may not sit very well with parents, or that may be like, huh, like I did not expect that. So I've experienced a lot of anxiety. I've experienced a lot of depression. In fact, I'll be very, very vulnerable and very transparent with you all. During the whole COVID thing, I hit a very, very low. Like I was very depressed, and I had to share with my husband that I had thoughts of just leaving it all and just, hurting myself, and just I had those thoughts. I never meant to act on them, but I did hit that low because I had experienced a very painful moment in my life where the pain was just too much for me. And so I thankfully had already been working with a mentor who works with healing our wounds, healing the trauma that I've experienced in my life. And I'm sharing this with you because it's, as I reflect now, I understand now very clearly. My mom also went through these things. My mom, even to this day, is extremely anxious. She actually picks at her skin and creates scabs. She scratches her head. She scratches her shoulders, her legs. She's also, since I was in high school, has been on antidepressants. And has a lot of other diseases. And when my daughter, who's now 6, she just turned 6 on Sunday, when she was around 3 years old, there was a moment one night where she was having excruciating stomach pain. And she was up every 2 hours at night feeling this pain in her stomach, where she was literally rocking herself to try to soothe herself. And I didn't make anything that first night. I was like, okay, I don't know what's going on. She just maybe ate something. It happened again the second night. And then when she woke up, her wrists, her ankles were swollen, and they looked purple. And at that point, my husband and I became really, really alerted. We were like, okay, we need to take her into the doctor. We took her into the doctor. I think they told us the first time, just give her some antihistamines to lower the inflammation, and just watch and, be aware. So, and give her like Tylenol, I think. So we were like, okay, we'll do that. A couple of days later, she woke up with red spots all over her legs, which really scared us. And so here we go back into the doctor. And at this point, the doctor is now telling us that she has this very rare autoimmune disease. I don't remember the name of it, but it was a disease where the vessels in her legs start to pop. And so it's internal bleeding in her legs. And the doctor's like, it's very rare. There's, nothing we can do about this, but we we'll want your daughter to come in every week to take a urine test and make sure her protein levels are not too high. So we did that for 6 months, where she was coming in every week and checking and just making sure that it didn't get bad. And all we were told was give her Tylenol to allow for the inflammation to get better. Well, you can imagine that as a mother, and my husband's in medical field, he's a nurse. I started to do research, and I started to look into that. And, I now know, and the doctor may not agree with me, and maybe, you may not agree with me, but what I truly feel in my spirit is that my daughter at that time was really, her body was reacting to the amount of stress and the amount of tension that was in the house. At that time, just to give you some context, my mom was living with me. My mother-in-law was visiting and was around for 6 months. My sister-in-law was also with me because she was here visiting. She was pregnant. So the house was full, and there was a lot of tension and a lot of stress. And during that time, my daughter was not in daycare, so she was at home. And I was stressed out. I was working, coming home, trying to ensure everybody was fine. And so I truly do believe that my daughter at that point was really just reflecting the energy in the house. And so I spoke to my mentor about this, and my mentor said, because I asked, what can I do? Like, my little girl is in the ER, she's in pain, and all they're giving me is Tylenol. And my mentor said this one thing: you can never, there's not much you can do for your daughter to fix her. But the one thing that you can do as a parent is work on yourself, work on your own anxiety, work on your own depression, work on you showing up as a parent balanced, right? That beam that I showed at the beginning. Because when you're in that state of balance and that state of ease, and that and you're seeing your children or your mother-in-law respond, you won't respond back. You'll respond with peace. You'll respond with calmness. So if you can do that, you change the environment, the energy in the environment. And so I said, okay, how do I do that? And so she started to work with me to do, certain exercises to allow me to truly all the trauma that I had stored in my body, to release that. And as I did that, my daughter got better. She started to become better. And I now notice, and I'm very aware that when I start to become more anxious, stressed out, my daughter, it's like a mirror. She kind of mirrors that. And so, Mr. Garcia, to answer your question, I feel that as parents, we're always looking to, how do we support our kids? How do we, fix them? How do we change them? But my advice, and it's probably going to be very unpopular, is that I think it starts with us as the adults. And I believe that even with school. And I say this to the staff. And when I present, I say, look, if we want our children to get better in the classroom, as teachers, when we show up, we need to be in a state of regulation, in a state where we are calm, where we are at ease, right? That balance. Because if we're not, they're going to respond to the energy in the room. Our children literally are a mirror of the environment they're in. And that's not to say that it's our fault, because we grew up just like our parents, right? We grew up in an environment. So we're a product, a result of our experiences too. So that is ultimately, for me, what I would advise is for us to get ourselves in a state where we are at ease, where we are balanced. That doesn't mean that we can never be unbalanced. That's going to happen. Stress is very normal. It's actually a way of protecting us, of ensuring that if there is a danger, if there is a threat, that our bodies need to respond. But when we're constantly in a state of stress, where we're constantly unbalanced, we're not going to be able to help people when we're not balanced, when we're trying to, our own body is trying to get into balance. It's difficult to help somebody else. So I don't know if that makes sense, Mr. Garcia, but I will share other ways, but that is my number one way to support our kids. Go ahead, Mr. Garcia.
Yes, that's make too much sense for me, and that's I'm so agree with you, because depends on the environment you're around, you wanna be like that, or our kids in this case, because if they live in an environment, everything is like danger, they all the time you have to be alert, like you fighting with the husband or with the wife, with the brothers. I mean, they have to be alert all the time. But the difference is, if you imbalance, like you say, everything is gonna be good. They didn't have to deal with the problems in the home and the problems in the school too. They have already enough with the probably with the work, not the problems with the work in the school, to come in on the home and have all this stuff, all fightings, all worry about everything now, like plus the COVID, plus
Mm-hmm.
everything. No, it's a lot. It's a lot for them now. So really, we have to start with us,
Mm-hmm.
look for that balance, and that's very important. That's make too much sense for me. So that's thank you so much for that, because that way I is the best way I can help them.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, thank.
is the best way I can help them. Starting with me and with my wife, explain this about it. We have to be in balance for our kids. growing up the good way and don't cause them stress. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia, for summarizing that so eloquently. Thank you.